We'll start this session by discussing how to obtain the pie charts and why we are using pie charts. And at the latter part of this session, I will discuss about the obtaining and the uses of the Pareto diagrams. Okay. First, we'll have an idea about the pie charts. In the word itself, the pie charts, we all know that if you are just having a sector from, if you are simply suppose that if you are considering a sector from a circle, if you are just obtaining a sector from a circle, then this small part is meant to be a pi. Therefore, we'll use this concept to obtain the pie chart. Therefore, once you obtain the pie chart, it would be a figure like this way. It is just you are dividing a circle into some sectors. In an using an appropriate method. Therefore, it is the very basic idea about the pie charts, and these pie charts can be used to compare the relation between the whole and its components. Therefore, suppose that if you need to have an idea regarding um, what is the portion that that we have allocated for a particular category out of its total components. Therefore, for such a comparison, it would be really nice if you can use the concept of pie chart. Therefore, if you look about the pie chart, a pie chart is a circular diagram. Here also I have mentioned it. It is actually made based on a circle. Therefore, we can say it as a circular diagram. And the area of a sector of a circle is used in pie chart. It is what I have mentioned here. If you are considering a circle, then we can consider these small parts named as pi, and here we are considering its area to denote or to have the magnitude. Therefore, the magnitude of each category is proportionate to the area of the sector drawing or allocated for the given category. Therefore, when we are going to construct a pie chart, or we can say it as a sector diagram, it is because if we are learning about the circle, then we can say this is small part as a sector as well. But for the general use, we are saying this as the this term, this pie chart, and this small part is meant to be a pie. Then we draw, first we are drawing a circle when we need to obtain the pie chart. Then first we are drawing a circle, and then we have to divide this total circle into the sectors accordingly. Actually, this is based on the number of elements which falls under each category. When we are going to identify the sectors in the pie chart, what we have to pay attention is what we know is the total angle of a circle is equal to 360. It is quite like this way. Suppose that if you are drawing a circle, then you will have a center likewise this point. Therefore, if you are measuring the angle throughout this center, then this would be equal to 360 degrees. That is why we are saying that the total angle of a sector is equal to 360 degrees. And then when we are discussing about this pie chart, then I told you that we have to identify the sectors accordingly. To calculate the sectors, or in simply rather than calculating the sectors, what we tend to do is we are finding out the angle of the sector. Therefore, to calculate the angle which is suitable for each sector can be considered as the number of elements in each category divided by the total number of elements considered for the survey, or total number of elements in the data set multiplied with 360. It is because this is what we have learned as the total angle of the circle. This 360 denotes the total angle of circle, and this is proportionate, and we can obtain the angle for each sector. Therefore, to proportionate it, we are considering it as the number of elements in each category, and it is divided by the total elements. Now we will move for an example related to this. Here it says that the below table shows the details of a monthly budget of a family, and they are directly ask us to represent these figures using a pie chart. But here actually what we need to do is, if you just see about this data set, it is actually a monthly budget of a family, and they have identified some categories or the areas that they are having these expenditures. Here they have identified actually 5 categories for the expenditures, like food, clothing, house rent, fuel and lighting, and then for the miscellaneous they have or they have allocated some amount as the expenditure. Therefore, once they are having a monthly budget, and if they are considering their budget, for food they are saying that they are expending 600. For clothing it is saying as 100, house rent 400, fuel 100, and miscellaneous and others it is 300. Now actually what we need to do here is, rather than comparing these clothing, food and house rent and miscellaneous using a pie chart, what we can do identify easily is, we can identify the relation, we can identify the relationship between whole and its component. It is simply say that how we are dividing or how we are expending our monthly salary in the categories that we are supposed to this supposed to have our expenditures. Therefore, here it has identified 5 categories, and this is the initial data set that they have given for us. Therefore, if you need to have a comparison, suppose that if you just need to have a comparison, which will have the largest value, which will have the smallest value. Therefore, a thing like that, or any idea like that, we can simply use a bar diagram instead of using a pie chart. But if you are using a pie chart, you can just have an idea about what is the ratios that they have allocated, or simply what is the proportion that they have allocated for each category. That is why we are suggesting that the pie chart is much more appropriate for a data set like this. When we are going to construct the pie chart, then here it says that first we need to construct or draw a circle, and then this total angle has to be divided according to each component. Therefore, what we have to do is, first we need to identify the angles associated with each sector. Here we have identified 5 sectors, and I have created another row for denoting the total. Therefore, as the first thing, what I have done was, I have identified the total budget and taken the total which equals to 1,500 dollars as their budget, and then we can calculate the angle or the angle associated with each sector using the equation what we have discussed previously. Therefore, according to this, to get this 144, what we can do is, here we know that in the first category, or for the category what we are naming as food, it has a number of elements, or the amount is 600, and it has to be divided by total, it is 1500, and then we have to multiply it with 360 degrees. Since we are not going to worry about the radian measures, we are just using the degree measures to obtain the values. Therefore, once you perform this calculation, you will get the angle for the sector associated for food category is equal to 144 degrees. Likewise, to calculate the angle or the sector of clothing, what we can do is, we can have this 100 divided by 1500 multiplied with 360. where this 100 is the number of elements or the amount allocated for clothing category, and it has to be divided by total 1500, then multiplied with 360. It is because we have to proportionate this 360 degrees accordingly. If I take the last one, here we can take this as 300. We can take this as 300 divided by 1500 and multiplied with 360. Likewise, we can perform the calculation, and if you add all these values, then this should be equal to 360 degrees. Therefore, generally what we are going to do is, generally we are calculating first five, and then the least one is generally or the last one is generally obtained using this 360 minus the addition of all others. Then and there we will get exactly this 360 degrees. But anyhow, if we are having the without any, if you are having the numbers which are cancelling directly off, then we, without any decimals, we are getting the values, then we'll get a finite value for last row as well, and then we'll get the exact value 360 for the total of these angles. Once you have identified the angles, then what we can do is we can draw these angles, or we can include these angles. We can include these angles, and we can construct the pie chart. So now we can see the chart which is associated for this set of data. Then we can see the obtained chart is like this. What we have to do here is, first we need to identify, here we have identified the angles associated for each sector. Here it is identified that for food it is 144 degrees. Generally we can start it from the 0 degree line. Therefore first what we have to do is, we have to draw a circle first. Then I will start from here. Therefore from the center, it is quite like this 12 o'clock line. Therefore the 0 degree. Therefore what we have to do is, first we have to draw a line, and then we have to measure 144 degrees. Therefore this angle is equal to 144 degrees. Then we can name this as food. If you need, we can include the counts as well. Here I have include the counts as well, and then you have to use an appropriate shading for this. Here I will color it in this way. It is for food. And thereafter what we can do is, we can use it for clothing. For the clothing, it is around 24 degrees. Then we'll have the, here we have to measure 24 from this point, and it is for clothing. And I will name this as 100. And if I use another color to show this, then I can take it as it is using this green color. And then for house rent, the angle was identified as 96 degrees. Therefore I have to find out this 96 from this point, 96 degrees, and we can name it for house rent. And if you identify the number of elements in that category, it is around 400. Therefore if you color it, then we can take it the color for house rent in this way. And then fuel and lighting. For fuel and lighting, it is identified as again 124. Angle is 24 degrees, and it is for fuel and lighting. I will name it as fuel. Then we have to use another color, on this case as well. Yeah, I will use this color. and then the remaining is actually for miscellaneous. Then we can say for the miscellaneous we can have this value, and here I have maybe missed that fuel, we have used 100. For miscellaneous it is 300, and the angle that we have obtained here is, I think it is we have obtained the angle as 72 degrees. Then we have to color this part as well. Therefore, in this way, we can easily obtain the pie chart. Now we can have a much more idea regarding what is the proportion that we have explained for each category. And when we are drawing the pie chart, this is the basic way that we are drawing. But some are just interested about ordering or making these categories in the ascending order of the angle, and then they tend to obtain this pie chart. It is quite like this way. Suppose that they are drawing the circle first, and then they are starting from this point. Then the majority is for food, it is 144. Therefore it is food. And the next highest angle is for house rent. Therefore they will have this 96. It is somewhat here. Then this is as the house rent. For food it was 600, house rent it was 400, and then miscellaneous it is around 300, and for fuel and lighting, and this part is for fuel, it is 100, and this part is for what we have identified as clothing again, 100. And we can just what we can highlight them using some other colors as well. You can use different shadings. It is no need to use the lines only. You can use any shading, but none of two sectors should use the same color or same color. If you are having distinct, if you are having different patterns, then it is also okay if you are using same colors. Okay, therefore this is another way that we can use, but all these points should be at the same point. But have just draw it by thinking this as center. Therefore, what we can use here is, here what I have done was I have just uh, arrange or rearrange these categories in the ascending order of the angle, or the ascending order of the in the descending order of the angle, or the descending order of the amount. Maximum is for food, then for house rent, miscellaneous, fuel and clothing likewise. Then these arrange sectors was shown in the figure in this way. This is the next method we can use. And the next important thing I would like to highlight here is, you can start it from the zero angle, or generally we are starting it at this point, or else we can start it from here as well. And we can go it in the clockwise, or else we can go it in the anti-clockwise. But generally we prefer to start from this way or this way. It is quite okay, but we are generally using the clockwise manner to complete this circle, complete the pie chart. Therefore, the most appropriate method, but it is not a hard and fast rule, but generally we are having this starting from this 0 degree, and then we tend to use the uh, clockwise way to construct the pie chart. And once you have construct the pie chart, the next important thing you have to mention is the legend. According to the shadings or the colors that you use to show the sectors, you can add it into the legend. This is what we are saying as the legend. You can generally write it in the, or you can show it in the right hand side, or else in the bottom as well. If you wish, you can move it to the bottom, but some are preferred to show it in the left hand as well, but the majority of the charts we can see it in the right hand side or the bottom of the chart. And here we can see that I have used this blue color for food, red for clothing, and green for house rent, this purple for fuel and lighting, and some pale blue color for miscellaneous. Therefore, as soon as we show this legend, then it is easy for the reading of the chart. Otherwise, even though we do not have any label, suppose that you do not have these labels, then even without these labels, it is really easy for us to find out what are these categories. It is because in the legend, the colors that we have used to denote each category is mentioned. Therefore, it is you have to use a legend once you draw a pie chart. And then I will discuss about the Pareto diagram. This is the once we move for the Pareto diagram. This is a collection of bars. It is quite like the collection of bars and lines. Rather than the concept that we have used in bar chart, here, this is somewhat similar to the histograms. We will discuss the histograms in the next session. But anyhow, the difference that in the Pareto diagram and with the bar charts, we can see that in the bar charts, what we had was in the bar chart, we had the spaces between two consecutive bars. Spaces between two consecutive bars. But once you use this in the Pareto diagram, there is nothing like these spaces between two consecutive bars. And here it is not only the bars we are using, as well as we have to use a line graph. And generally we are using the cumulative totals to show using the line graph, and to denote the or to obtain the bar chart we are using the frequencies. And the next important thing in the Pareto diagram is when we are representing the bars, we are always representing these bars in the descending order. If you are considering an example, if you suppose that you are having the values for several categories, then as the first thing you are rearranging these categories in the descending order, and according to that order, you have to draw the bars, and then for the cumulative totals, we have to obtain the cumulative totals thereafter. Then for those cumulative totals, we are drawing the line graph. And if I take the example which we have discussed previously, here we can see that according to the example that we are having, the table shows the monthly budget of a family, and it is asked to show it using a Pareto diagram. What we have to do first is, first we need to rearrange the table if the values are not in the descending order. Always we have to use it in the descending order. First we are having the item we are having in the left hand side, and then we can have the budget here. We can see if you rank it, it will be easy for us. This comes first, then second one is this, third one, fourth and fifth. You can change the order of these two places. It is because you can see that similar value is included in both categories. Therefore, first we can rearrange these in the descending order. Highest is for food and value is 600. The next largest is for house rent, and it is 400. Then it is for miscellaneous, 300. Then I have taken clothing as fourth one, it is 100. And for the fifth one, I have taken, it is again 100. And here we can say this as the frequency. We can consider this as the frequency. Therefore, by considering it as frequency, then we have to calculate the cumulative frequency value, which is abbreviated by CF, cumulative frequency. Here we have to use these values to calculate cumulative frequency. Then first value comes here, taken as 600. The CF abbreviated for cumulative frequency. Now we can obtain the cumulative frequency. First value is 600, then 600 plus 400 gives the value as 1000, then 1000 plus 300, 1300, 1300 plus 100, 1400. In this way we will get the cumulative frequency column in this form. Now, what I have mentioned previously, we have to use the bar chart. We have to construct the bar chart based on the frequency. Therefore, these values are used to construct the bar chart. And here these values or the cumulative frequencies are used to construct the line graph. Again, I am not going to discuss about the line graph using this. When we are discussing about Pareto diagram, I'll say how we can construct the line graph. Okay, now what we have done was we have arranged these categories in the descending order of their frequency. Here we have considered the budget as the frequency or the amount that they are expending for those categories as frequency. Once we have rearranged them in the descending order, then we have obtained a set of values as this. Therefore, as the first thing what we have to do is we have to construct the bars, and we are not going to keep any spaces in between any two consecutive bars. Therefore, we can see that for the first category food, the value is 600. Therefore, first we are constructing a bar which used to denote 600 units, and we are naming it as food. Therefore, first category is for food. Second category, it is for house rent, value is 400. And we are taking these as two adjacent bars, no any spaces between these two. Then third one is for miscellaneous, 300. Likewise, we have to mention it for the fourth and fifth one, clothing and fuel, and the last one for fuel and lighting. And when we are constructing these bars, the width of the bars should be same throughout the graph. The dissimilar widths cannot be used for separate categories, and therefore the following those concepts, first we need to construct these bars, and then we have to identify the midpoint of each bar. Here we have identified this is the midpoint of the bar, and this midpoint is somewhat here, it is somewhat here for this one and this one. We have to identify the midpoints. And now we are going to construct the line graph. When we are marking the point to construct the line graph, for this y-axis is denoting the frequencies and the cumulative frequencies, and x-axis is denoted, x-axis was used to denote the categories. Now you have to mark the frequencies. For food, value is 600, therefore it is exactly on the bar. It is because this is the initial one. Always this initial value is exactly on the bar. And then for the next one, house rent, once we come to the house rent, value is 1000. Then here we have to identify 1000, and this should be exactly on top of the a line which is go through the middle of this bar. Therefore, for house rent it is 1000, and this value should be exactly the on top of the middle of this bar. Likewise, for the miscellaneous, it will be 1300. Then it is quite in this way. Then for clothing, and then fuel and lighting. To construct the line chart, what we have to, we are not drawing it in freehand. We have to connect these dots. Therefore, using a ruler, you have to connect given two consecutive dots. Therefore, this is how we are constructing the this line graph for constructing Pareto chart. Therefore, if you are combining this bar chart along with this line graph, then this leads us to a construction of Pareto chart. And we are using these Pareto charts to have an idea with the data we are having for categories. Generally, we can use a Pareto chart. It is because here we can see that what is the highest, what is the lowest, and those case in the bar graph. But in the line graph, we can see how cumulatively we have expend the salary, or we have allocated these allocated or having the budget for these categories in a cumulative manner. And here in this Pareto chart, there are some other things I have included. In the y-axis, generally it is the frequency we are having, and in the x-axis, as I mentioned previously, categories are there. But here I have included the percentages as well, but it is not mandatory to use the percentages. Therefore, anyhow, when once you need to use the percentage, always the starting point is 0, and the largest value that we are taking for cumulative frequency is 100, and then this intermediate distance should be divided into 100 units, and here it is using the appropriate unit scale. They have used it as the values with 20 to 20. Therefore, this is how, if you need, you can use this percentage, but it is not compulsory. It is because as soon as you see this, now if you consider about this for the first term, you can say that we are expending the 40% of the total for food. And if you are considering about this value, now what we can say as a percentage, around 70% is spent for food and house rent. But if you come to the miscellaneous, uh, we can say it as around 85. Then 85% of the total expenditure is for food, house rent, and miscellaneous, and remaining are for clothing and fuel and lighting. Likewise, you can comment on these things using a Pareto chart very easily. And these percentage and cumulative percentages has also included this can be used for the interpretation of these charts. And these are the methods that we are generally used in the or the used as the data visualization technique. And so far we have discussed the data visualization techniques which are related for the categorical data only. In the next session, I would like to uh, have a discussion on the data visualization techniques that we can use for the quantitative data. Therefore, this is all what I need to discuss in this session, and thank you all for participating with this session.